Hey everyone, we're back for chapter 40 of the Adventures of Will Irving, Automaton Trouble. Here we go. Will paused for a moment to take out his gun, and then climbed the remaining rungs of the ladder and quietly opened the maintenance grate in the floor. He quickly scanned the room and saw Jim sitting in a seat in front of a large control panel filled with buttons and monitors. He could tell that Jim was wearing a headpiece resembling the one he had seen in Arthur's notebook, as well as a dark mask. Will climbed the rest of the way into the room and stood up. "The jig's up, Jim," Will said, pointing his gun at Jim's back. "Nice of you to join me," Jim welcomed without turning around. "Shut this thing down, or," Will began to say. "Or what? You'll kill me?" Jim interrupted as he put his arms out to show that he was unarmed, and then slowly swiveled his seat around so that he could face Will. "No, you wouldn't want to do that, William. After all, we're on the same team." "What are you talking about?" Will asked with a puzzled expression. Jim slowly removed his mask, and Will took a step back. "What the?" Will gasped as he slowly lowered his gun and turned off his wrist transceiver. "It's been a while, hasn't it, son?" Jim said, changing his voice slightly. "Dad?" Will stammered. "Why?" "Because that bastard killed Audrey," Walter Irving shouted, rising and pointing toward the monitor where Mo could be seen, held in the automaton's grip. The automaton responded to Walter's outburst, tightening its grip. Mo grunted and winced in pain. "And Arthur, Autumn, who knows how many other countless innocent people," Walter continued. "He deserves to die just like all the other filthy criminals who are finally going to get what's coming to them." "This isn't right, Dad," Will protested. "He may be the reason why Mom is dead, but killing him isn't the solution. It'll just make you a killer like him." "It's our job to fight against people like him, Will," Walter argued. "That's what we stand for." "Fight? Yes. Stand against their corruption? Yes," Will passionately replied. "But murder? No. Become them? No." "You don't understand, son," Walter said sadly. "I have to do this." "No, you don't," Will protested. "What about Emily?" "Emily," Walter said thoughtfully. "She misses you," Will shared. "She doesn't understand why you left. She still thinks you'll come back someday." "I can't," Walter stated. It's too late for that. I couldn't protect your mom. How can I protect your sister?" "No, this is the only way." Walter turned back toward the control panel and raised his hand. The automaton responded and began to slowly crush Mo, who began to shout in agony. "We always have a choice, and there's always another way," Will said. "Arthur, Autumn, Claire." Suddenly, the automaton powered down, and an alarm began to sound. A timer appeared on one of the monitors and began to count down from 5 minutes. "Emergency shutdown and self-destruction sequence initiated," a voice from the control panel informed. "All personnel, please evacuate." "What did you do?" Walter shouted as he turned back toward the control panel and began to press several buttons. "There's no way to stop it, Dad," Will explained. "It's over. We've got less than 5 minutes. Let's go." Walter tried to regain control over the automaton, but it was no use. The automaton was no longer responsive. Its arms had dropped to its side, and Mo was nowhere to be seen on the monitors. "Damn it!" Walter shouted, smashing his fist down onto the control panel. "Dad, we need to leave now," Will urged. "It's going to self-destruct." Walter slowly removed his headpiece and let it fall from his hand onto the floor. He turned to look at Will and sadly shook his head. "Dad, come on, let's go," Will shouted, reaching out his hand toward Walter. "I can't, Will," Walter stated, falling back into his seat and shaking his head. "I told you. I just can't." Will shook his head in disappointment as a tear fell down his cheek. Dad, Will quietly said one last time. Walter closed his eyes, and several tears ran down his face as he hung his head. Will turned and quickly made his way over to the ladder that led to the entrance hatch above. Will, Walter called out as Will stepped onto the ladder. Will turned to look at his father. Promise me you won't tell Emily, Walter said. I won't, Will said, shaking his head. I promise. Will turned back to the ladder, turned his wrist transceiver on, and began to climb. Claire, I triggered the self-destruct sequence. Make sure everyone is out of the area, Will said. Max, I'm coming out of the entrance hatch on the head, and I could sure use some help getting down. And that is chapter 40. See you next time for chapter 41.